This 100% was not the episode that I was planning to film this week, but then I found this show and I had to scrap everything because I cannot stop talking about it. So now I have to share it with all of y'all, so y'all will get hooked and they will give us another season. Welcome back to The Max Reality. If you've seen my face before, then you know the drill. But if you're new here, my name's Morgan, and I love talking all things reality TV. And today, we are talking about the show that has completely trapped my attention. I love it. It is called The Floor. It's Fox's newest game show, and I just have to talk about it because I cannot stop. Honestly, it's a problem. So the next obvious question is, what is this? How does this show work? Pretty much, they start out with 81 contestants who are all standing on this floor, surprise, that's laid out with a grid. Each of them have a trivia expertise. It's things like 80s TV shows, dogs, bugs. It goes from, like, almost too specific to completely and utterly vague. One of the categories was vegetables. So, a wide array of expertise from our 81 contestants. And what happens is they have to duel each other for space on the floor. Whatever player ends up with the most squares on the floor is going to win $250,000. But there is even more involved, and I'm sure you're wondering, well, how do the duels work? So let's get into it. To get our first player, they activate the randomizer, which will highlight a random person on the floor's square, and then they have to challenge someone in their trivia category. But not just anyone, it has to be one of their neighbors. So one of the players in front of them, behind them, or to the left and right, not diagonal. The two players then go up to perform the duel. So let's say that the person challenged the person whose expertise was office supplies. The two players go up there, there's this really big screen, and they have different ways they do this part, but probably for this one what they would do is show different pictures of office supplies, and you have to name the office supply. And like I said, there's a couple different ways they do this part. For example, somebody's expertise was books, so they showed about pictures of book covers with one word missing, and they usually had the author as well, and you had to figure out what the one word was. Another one, they did songs about places, and the songs would be missing a word, or the whole thing, but they had the artist to help them figure out what the place was that they should be naming. My least favorite version so far has been bands. What they did was they showed pictures that were descriptive of the bands. I'm going to try to put some footage in here so you can see what it looked like, but then they had to guess what band it represented. Like, there was a picture of a pumpkin all smashed up, obviously Smashing Pumpkins. There was a matchbox with 20 matches in it, Matchbox 20, things like that, but they were like obviously AI generated photos and they were so freaky to look at. It was horrible. Some other little details of the duel. There's no punishment for wrong guesses. You can sit there and guess as much as you want. The only punishment is the clock is going down. If you do want to pass and get a new picture, though, you lose 3 seconds on your clock. Anyway, back to the duel itself. The challenger has to go first, naming whatever they're supposed to name for the category, and each player has a timer of 45 seconds. While you're trying to make your guess, the timer is slowly ticking down, and it stops whenever you have said the correct answer, and your competitors starts to count down. Whoever runs out of time first loses and leaves the floor, and the person who won gets their space on the floor. Now, this is the part that was tripping me up for a minute, so I'm going to do my best to explain this, and hopefully it doesn't sound confusing. Honestly, if we're going to be super real, when they explained the game in the very first episode, I truly and deeply did not understand it until I watched a couple duels happen. So I'm going to try my best, but I don't even think they did a great job explaining it, in my personal opinion. After somebody wins the duel, there are different things that happen. The first question is, do they want to challenge somebody else? And now they've obviously gained more categories, because now that they have a second piece of the floor, they also gain whatever neighbors they gain from that person's piece, whatever it's touching. So they have more categories to pick from. They can keep challenging, trying to get more pieces of the floor, or they can go back to the floor. But depending on who challenged who and who won, you either keep your area of expertise, so you go back to the floor, and if somebody wants to challenge you, they'll be challenging you on your expertise, or in other cases, you inherit the other person's expertise. So if you go back to the floor and you're challenged, you're going to be challenged on their expertise. So if you did the challenging and you beat the person in their expertise, you keep your expertise. But if you were challenged and you won, you inherit the other person's expertise. This tripped me up for honestly longer than I'd like to admit. So if anybody else feels kind of confused by that at first, please let me know in the comments so I feel like I'm not alone. Or you can bully me, whatever. I really don't care. Engagement's engagement. And there's no limit to how many people you challenge. Every time you win, you can just keep going and adding as many pieces as you want. Each episode so far has had about 8 duels. And the other thing, on top of all of this, is every night, whoever has the most pieces at the end of the night goes home with at the end of the night, whoever has the most pieces goes home with $20,000 and gets to keep it no matter what. That's just theirs because they had the most pieces that night. This show is just giving away money. And the very cherry on top this little sundae is the host of this show is Rob Lowe. He's a great host. I think he's great for this. He's funny, but he's not too much. And, Rob Lowe's Rob Lowe, but whatever. I think it's a good choice. I have a couple little notes and things that I don't know. I don't know if it just helps with the game mechanics or what, but one of my first things that I don't love about it is I don't understand. I do and I don't understand why the challenger has to go first in the duel. It's just already hard enough that they're having to just pick a category that they might not know anything about. But then to have to go first, I just feel like the person whose expertise it is should have to go first. I know I'm not the only person who feels this way too, because I saw other people saying it on the internet. So other than that though, I really don't have any complaints. I've really liked all the contestants so far. I love all the kooky little categories. I mean, there's things like Nepo babies. It's just a fun time. I have a great time watching it. I think it's really interesting. I started rooting for people. I'm invested. I am honestly kind of sad that I found the show when it actually started airing. I wish I could just binge it because it's a problem, y'all. So far there have been 2 episodes. I personally watch it on Hulu. It's a Fox show, but I just 100% recommend it, and I want other people to get into it too. If you have heard about it and you're watching it too, please let me know all your thoughts in the comments. I am dying to talk to somebody else about this. Luckily, I got one of my best friends hooked, but I need more people. Or if you go watch the show because of this video, you better come back here and talk about it because I need this. I need this. This is a way shorter video than I usually make because I just had to talk about it. There's not really anything to talk about, but I'm just hoping if you haven't heard about it and you're interested in this kind of thing, honestly, I'm just hoping this finds the right audience because like I said earlier, I want this to get a season 2 because I love it. So I just had to put this out there. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. If you liked it, give it a like, and if you like talking about reality TV in general, especially Shark Tank, that is my A-list #1, especially right now during Shark Tank season, definitely, hit that subscribe button, and let me know all your thoughts and feelings about the floor in the comments, and until then, I will see y'all in the next one.